All right, so tonight you're going to watch this video on immunization. Your title is Immunization, and you're going to make your own note on the topic. So, to help you out with your note, we're going to get started with why it matters. Well, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Unfortunately, we're metric and you're not sure what ounces and pounds are. A stitch in time saves 9. Well, most of you haven't taken sewing. So let's have a look at some needles. Ooh, needles. Okay, so these are some of the vaccines that you've either had as kids or will get as parents. So let's have a look at why we bother, because those things are sharp and they hurt. So the challenge. First of all, diseases are caused by bacteria and viruses, and we call anything that causes a disease a pathogen. A few of them are caused by fungi and a few others by protozoa, but most of them are bacteria and viruses. Most of them get into your body through your mouth and your nose or any other opening in the skin, your eyes too. The white blood cells try and fight these pathogens, but it takes a little time for them to figure out how to do it, and not every time they win. And if they don't win, we die. So it's better if we give them some help. Antibiotics is what people think of as the most common kind of help. And antibiotics are supposed to weaken or kill bacteria, but they can't weaken or kill all the bacteria, and some are resistant. And against anything else like a virus or a fungi or something like that, they don't do anything. So antibiotics only go so far. So the method of immunization. How is it that we can become immune to a disease? Well, first what we do is we expose a person to a weakened or killed version of a pathogen. Yes, that's what the shot is. You are being given a weakened or killed version of something that normally would cause disease. We usually kill them with x-rays. Then, the white blood cells identify those pathogens as something that shouldn't belong, and they start fighting them off as if they were a real threat. The body now knows what these things look like. So later on, when we're exposed to them again for the real time, when they're alive, now all of a sudden the body recognizes them quickly and can respond quickly. This is exactly how we would normally get immune to a disease if it was something that we got as a kid, like chickenpox. So if you've had chickenpox, you probably will never get it again because your body's already learned to fight it off. So, results of immunization. Well, here's a study that was done a few years ago where we were looking at immunizing people. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to mark in green over here on the right side. Here's the percentage of the population that's been immunized. And so it starts off way back here in 1980 where there's very, very low percentage, somewhere around 4 or 5%. And over the next 10 years, the percentage grows until about 1990. And about 1990, we get to about 94%. And you can see in the decade or so going forward, it hovers most of the time in the low 90s. Great. So what impact did that have? Well, on the other side, what we've got is the number of cases in the region. And it maxes out here at 40,000. So 40,000 would be a bad year, and that would be 1981. But generally speaking, from 1981 on, the number of cases drops, and somewhere around, about 1990, 92, somewhere in there, the number of cases drops to below 10,000. And you can see that in the last few years, it's struggling to stay below 4,000, which is still pretty good compared to 40,000 only a couple decades earlier. So because of that, we all get one of these. We get a record of immunization. And so it's got our name over here on the side here. And across the top here are the list of all the different diseases you'll be immunized against. And these are the dates you had immunizations for. And in the middle here, we've got a section showing with a little X's all the immunizations you've got. And you can write more in down here at the bottom. So that's a record of our immunization. Your parents probably hang onto this card for you so that you don't have to. And at some point in time, they will hopefully remember to give it to you. So, issues in our area. So we're going to be discussing some issues from our area, and we want you to be able to back up your opinion using the science. Because if you're not using science, you've got an opinion that anyone can come up with, but we want it backed by science. So, first, should students be suspended from school if their parents cannot or will not provide proof of immunization? Starting last year, the local health unit started issuing suspensions because a large number of students hadn't got the results in. This last round earlier this year resulted in somewhere around 1,100 students having to be suspended. So, is it reasonable that this is happening or not? Second, do the governments have alternatives? What are the alternatives to vaccination that a government could use? Because keep in mind, through our tax dollars, they are paying for all of these vaccinations, and so do they have an alternative, or if not vaccinating us, will that cause us to increase funds? So that's what we're going to talk about in tomorrow's class. Thanks for watching.